everyone. Greetings, everyone. Or good mornings. Good morning. Sanbonani. Dumelang. You can see others namaste to Kashni. Thank you so much for coming. It was quite a nice welcome from the program director, all to ourselves and also to myself. You're reading that bio, it's quite something. There's an element where you just want to tap yourself on the back and say, oh, you've done all those things, but I always say what covers all of it is that I'm a public servant. And it's a path that I've chosen 20 years ago, and it's a path that I will remain until I call it a day. And I've been mostly focused in local government, as you would have heard from what was said. But obviously, our public sector is not just local government. And that is why Faro, in the past 4 or 5 years ago, we then decided that we have to ensure that we serve the whole of government of South Africa, as well as our neighboring countries in Africa, because we're also now expanding in that regard. And so what becomes quite important for you as you are here, this is our second workshop, more or less, because last year there were some glitches around it, but we felt it important that we continue the PFMA workshop. So, anything that is new and being established, it takes time. It's like a baby that needs to grow. And for those who have attended, because I can see a few faces that know our normal conferences and workshops that we have, they are quite well supported, because in local government, we've been there for the past, how many years? 90, this is our 96th year now, So we are quite a very mature organization. And going forward, you will see in years to come how this also will grow, the PFMA. And, as government, most of the time, I don't know how and why, but, the 3 tiers that we have, and then I was speaking to a gentleman earlier, reminded me, it's as if, we are working in isolation to one another, which should not be the case. Yes, there is PFMA, there is the MFMA, but we are one. Public service is one. And especially when you come to a local government level, that's where everything happens. You cannot have a province without a municipality, because whatever that you are going to do, you're not doing it in a municipal space. So that's why obviously working together then becomes very, very important, so that we are in sync in terms of planning, in terms of how we do things, in terms of coming together, like how Faro now is envisaging us going forward, where MFMA and PFMA can actually come together. So yes, we can continue to have our 3 tiers. I know there are some research that's being done as to whether should we have the middle tier provinces or not, and what so forth, but we leave that to those scholars who are actually dealing with it. But as the status quo remains, that is how it is, and we have to work together. So for me, while I was seated there and we were singing national anthem that sounds the call to come together and work together and we stand and all of that, which becomes so vital. In the environment that we are at, I won't say only local government, even provincial and national. Let's be honest. There's a lot of, in Zulu we say ukshaisana, there's a lot of infightings that take place, and most of the time those fightings or infightings that take place is because of, the political world that we operate in. We can't divorce ourselves as officials from the politics, whether we like it or not. We operate in a political space. And those infightings that take place, then they find expression even in the officials, the administration, the bureaucrats, which should not be the case. Let me tell you something. I was once in a meeting where there were robust engagement politically. Less political party fighting the other political party, there were loggerheads. After the meeting, we then went to another room because we needed to discuss. And these 2 gentlemen who had a heated debate, we go into that room, these guys are now shaking heads, hey, I got you, this, that, and you're thinking, how? These guys, right now, it was so tense in there, and what was happening, robust engagement and all of that, and you think that they are enemies. But As soon as they go somewhere else in other spaces, they are just the best of friends. It's just how the political world is. But now, because of that, even the officials have taken hold of those, things that are happening in the political space and we bring into administration. It should not be the case. We have to work together. We have to make sure that whatever that we do, we understand that we need one another. I don't know it all. I may have written a few books here and there, but there are certain things that I don't know, but my sister right here may know, my brother right there may know. But if we don't work together, we're taking those expressions in the other world and we bring it to administration. And unfortunately, we are not going to advance. We're not going to be able to stand together and do things that is required for public service. And as I close, I didn't prepare my notes yet, not that I'm disrespecting you, but I felt, there's certain things that must be spoken from the heart, because otherwise, we end up complicating matters. We end up trying to be so sophisticated, with some big words. I don't have big words. I'm not like Leanne, the program director. I'm sure in the few minutes you have picked up that she's got that. So I'm not there yet, but I aspire. I always tell you, when I grow up, I definitely want to be just like her. The way she speaks, and it's so good. So now, as I'm then closing, as I said, what then becomes important for us? 20 years ago, I started in local government, and I had so much of passion. I'm looking at this local government municipal. What can be so difficult? The same thing that we go year in, year out until we get into it and you realize, as we call it, it's another animal altogether for those who are in local government. I know provinces as well and national have similar issues. But then I've been asking myself this question: what has changed 20 years ago when I started and now? Has there been an improvement? Have things gotten worse? What have we been doing all these years, to be quite honest? And I really, the answer is not so good. I've been asking myself, are we using the correct measuring sticks, measuring tools to see whether we are really advancing in the right direction as the public service? I'm not going to answer the question. You can just, be at liberty to answer it yourself as well, because I'm sure most of us have been long enough in the public service. Have things gotten better, or have things deteriorated? And if things have not gotten better, then the question is, what are we going to do about it? It's no use, keep on talking about the problem, but we don't have solutions to it, or we don't dwell on the solutions. We have got to, and those solutions, we have to simplify them. Let's not try to come up with these fancy big words and international things that are working somewhere else. Yes, we can draw the best practices, but let's ensure that we can localize those things and simplify things. Our public service, we all know, especially in the local government level, it's overregulated. We need those things because we know what is happening in there. But at the end of the day, if we overcomplicate it by trying to be too sophisticated, let's simplify things. Let's make sure that even when we have these workshops, these seminars, that's what CIFARO stands for. We try by all means not to be theoretical, but to be practical in everything that we do. Because it's one thing to take a book and come up with what is written in there, put in a presentation, and then we can do a presentation. But we have to make sure that everything that is done is what can be applied within our workplaces that we find ourselves. So for me, as I then close, I say thank you so much for coming through. Let us all of us, we all need each other. Let us strive to improve our public service. Let's not think that we are waiting in our own corners. We can shine our light in our own corners, whether it's in different positions, different organizations, different tiers of government, but we are one. And it is us who's going to ensure that we can improve our public service. One day, we will call it a day. And the question, when you call it a day, you have to ask yourself the question, what value did you really bring in to improve things within our public service? And we want to make sure that we've got no regrets. We've done all that we could. We've tried all that we could. Then the next generation that can take on the baton and continue from there. With those words, thank you so much. We have a good 2 days of workshop. Comment, contribute, and ensure that you become part of what we are actually doing as CIFARO. Thank you so much.